This is Module 3, Lesson 6, Transpersonal Approach. Transpersonal psychology can be dated to Maslow's writing around 1966. Maslow perceived humanistic psychology as a transitional field of psychology subsumed within transpersonal psychology. Fontana in 2003 asserts that the transpersonal is arguably the oldest branch of psychological inquiry. Transpersonal psychology is a field or school of thought in psychology centered on the spiritual aspects of human life. Let's look into the etymological meaning of the word transpersonal. Transpersonal means beyond the person. Trans is translated from Latin as beyond or through, and the word persona from the Latin for mask. Therefore, transpersonal is going beyond oneself or beyond one's experiences and situation. An additional interpretation of transpersonal psychology is that it is a combination of elements blending Western psychology with Eastern contemplative tradition. In values education, the concerns of transpersonal education are in a sense spiritual, but they are not religious in a sectarian manner. Sectarian means favoring a specific sect or religion. The goal of transpersonal approach in values education is to guide the individual in his or her exploration of the many realms of experiences which transcend the ego or the self. Let's look into some themes of transpersonal approach as suggested by Hartelius, Kaplan, and Radin in 2007. The most common themes are beyond ego psychology, integrative or holistic psychology, and the psychology of transformation. The beyond the ego psychology theme aims to explore or understand the experiences beyond the ego. It's like looking at your experiences from a distance or watching yourself in that specific situation, and then you try to analyze that situation objectively rather than subjectively, and you try to come up with an objective solution. The integrative or holistic psychology attempts to educate or form a student holistically. That means the thinking, the choosing, and the acting are in conformity with each other. In this theme, the transpersonal approach shows that values education should educate the mind and the hearts of the students, considering the totality of their various dimensions like social, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, or political dimensions. And lastly, the psychology of transformation attempts to understand and cultivate growth of students as individuals and as communities. What is the transpersonal approach related to values education? Transpersonal education should attempt to combine the cognitive, affective, and the psychomotor domains, in that the mind and the body should no longer be considered as separate entities. Transpersonal education should unite the physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual domains. Such a unified attempt to develop and integrate those domains would support Maslow's assertion that the purpose of education is for a child to become a healthy, self-actualized adult. And then, to promote such a personal transformation, Maslow discussed the need for both parents and teachers to continue to personally develop to prevent their own distorted patterns of behavior being conveyed to the child. Consequently, teachers and parents should resolve their issues in life and move towards their own personal transformation to genuinely contribute to the transformation of their students. Let's look into the general principles of transpersonal approach. Transpersonal approach promotes intrinsic learning. It advocates learner autonomy. It advocates that learning should be a process of self-discovery. It also promotes lifelong learning, and it encourages teachers to act as facilitators. Let's look into the general purposes of transpersonal approach. The first one is to develop among students a higher level of consciousness and spiritual upliftment. and to give emphasis on the process of self-discovery and the significance of self-actualization to become a fully functioning person. The most commonly used strategies in transpersonal approach are rest and relaxation exercises, meditation and brief fantasizing imagination, creative and mind games, self-awareness activities, mindfulness, concentration on a physical task like breathing, eating, drinking, and so on. To recap, we discussed the transpersonal approach. Some common themes of transpersonal approach: transpersonal approach related to values education, general principles in transpersonal approach, general purposes of transpersonal approach, and the most commonly used strategies in transpersonal approach. So that's the Module 3, Lesson 6, Transpersonal Approach. See you in the next video.